just kept on going.
Live from Pahrump, Nevada, the Valley of the Dirt People, it's Tech Talk Taco Tuesday with your hosts, Jimmy Lewis and Logan Tyler.
Yeah, I'm not sure why anybody would watch this show. I wouldn't watch it if you didn't pay me. You know what I mean? Oh, we're on? Hey, welcome
Are we
to
on?
Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. It's live. It's Tuesday night from Pahrump, Valley of the Dirt People. This is the show where we tell you that you have no case. Yeah, you lose, right?
I agree.
With me tonight, filling in for Logan, is old Logan. We call him George. He's going to tell you how everything works. He's going to try to fix all the problems we have. Right, George?
Absolutely. I'm here to support you.
Really? You're gonna play Logan. You're just not gonna talk.
Yeah. No. Leave you hanging.
Logan has died evidently.
He's sick, apparently. He's sick through the weekend. Had a good class this weekend.
Right.
Logan wasn't there. He's missed, as always. But
I guess that's what happens when you get AIDS. It just takes you down real quick.
Could be.
Oh, wait, no. It's SARS. Isn't that what? No, I don't
whatever
know.
the new flavor is, we're running out of money to deal with COVID, so we're going to move on to something else, I think.
Right. And there goes my water.
Yeah, that wasn't
Luckily, it
good.
was only water, and there's my questions.
No problem.
There goes the whole show. Actually, it looks like that water's
Jimmy's
clean.
on a new diet, so I'm
cleaning
drinking
the
his
table.
beers over here.
Oh, boy. This is going to get good now. This show can never start out without a fuck-up. Excuse my French.
Yeah.
Bleep
Yeah.
that,
It's a
please.
signature.
Yeah.
of the show.
Luckily,
It's
we
our
got
charm.
the delay.
Yeah, no, we don't have a delay. It doesn't matter.
Let me just read this before it gets more wet, huh?
Really? Oh, we should probably preserve those because those are the only 2 copies we have.
We can make more. Here, I'll print you new questions.
Don't worry about it. I'll just try to make George read.
That'll make it
this
better.
way. Hey, this show is brought to you by Yamaha, Taco Moto, Scott Sports, Climb, DDC, and Trail Tech. I used, let's see, how many of those products did I use today? Everything but the Yamaha, because I was doing some rally-related stuff that required map books and big gas tanks and all that jazz.
That was really bad. Oh, it's water, though, right?
It's only water, just
So
seltzer
or
water.
anything. It'll
Yeah.
evaporate here in 20 minutes.
I hope so. With all the hot air I put out, it'll probably burn right up. Thank you for joining the show. Hey, if you want to help us out, which we need a lot of help, as you can see, I need a maid now. You can support us by going through our website. You can click through the link that we have up there for Rocky Mountain MC. So almost anything that you need, you can get there. You can also shop at Taco Moto. They have cool things. I got a little care package from Taco Moto the other day, and I got this funnel. And this funnel screws into your
Oil
fill.
cap.
Yeah. It
Oil
has the
fill.
same thread. I've never seen this before.
No.
I usually struggle with the right size funnel to I have the small one that just takes forever.
So the guy that won't take the time to get a ratio right to fill up a 2-stroke gas tank is going to take the time to screw that funnel in there?
Yeah. Yeah, I was on an oil changing mission. I changed
now
oil.
now you're just being a shill. But if you want one, where can you get it?
Taco Moto.
Taco Moto.
Taco Moto has these.
It's kind of cool.
If you were sitting around home just, drinking and, putting snarky comments up on the thing, you would put the link to this product from Taco Mike's page
Taco Moto.
up in the chat. And if you're wondering when
There's
we start
no K's. That's all C's in there, by the way.
And when we start talking about the chat room, if you're listening to this on the podcast format, we do this live every Tuesday night. Like I say, that's why I start out by saying live. It's a live show. It's not rehearsed. It's not practiced. In fact, it's not really even that good. But you can learn maybe 1 or 2 valuable things on this show. And so George would be in the chat right now. He'd quickly throw up the link to that little product. But maybe
So what I notice here, though, is it's got some kind of air release chamber there, right?
I was
So it
going to
doesn't
talk
plug.
about that. I was going to talk
Which
about
is
this.
good.
Yes, I was going to talk about this. I was waiting to see if anybody's going to try to fill your shoes in the chat room by putting up the link. I'm baiting the hook here. But what's probably going to happen is nobody's going to fill your shoes of all your 3 fans that are out
12.
there. 12. So your 12
out
followers.
there?
No, none of them are going to do it. Nobody really joins until halfway because the show takes like about an hour to get started.
Yeah, because you're not talking about the funnel. You're filling stuff. What's this pour spout?
The idea is if somebody can get that thing up there, you'll replace George, then we'll just ban him.
Yeah, just Google it, cut and paste it. There you go. Restream. Who's Restream?
George, your life expectancy is very short on Tech Talk Taco Tuesday.
I don't know where that came from. He wouldn't give me that back last time you were on the show. So let's talk about this funnel. Like, what are we so infatuated with this funnel? Why would I, the guy that just shortcuts everything and does stuff to the easiest, least? This thing was pretty cool because it actually saved me time because two things: it's screwed in there and it didn't leak, so I didn't have to wipe anything up. And second of all, it has, like you noticed, this little channel inside of the funnel. So inside of the funnel, imagine there's a little hose, so it allows the air to bleed off, so it doesn't burp or bubble. Yeah, and it works. It actually really does work. So kind of a cool product.
What's the pour spout in for? I'd like to hear from Mike if he's out there. It has that little pour in there. I'm not sure what it is.
Oh, you could probably put a cap in it and then have your drink out of it and pour it so it doesn't spill.
Okay.
Actually, even having something like that on there, so when you set the bottle, if you want to drain every ounce of oil out of the bottle, if you're as cheap as me, you do.
Right.
Yeah, you can set the bottle in there. If it's completely round, a lot of times they fall, but if sometimes there's a little edge, or like even where that spigot thing is, it'll hold the bottle in there and it won't fall out. So I thought it was pretty cool. I was pretty stoked on that.
Who makes that? Because it's got
has
somebody
a
else.
logo on it.
I don't think he made it.
It looks like ACT.
AKT.
AKT.
Yep.
How much is that?
$32. No, out of stock is what it is.
Yeah.
Comes
See?
in your favorite colors.
See,
though.
I talked about it.
$24.99.
Yeah.
I was going to say $32. I talked about it and it sold out instantly.
So blue's out of stock, orange is out of stock, black is in stock, and red is in stock. So you can get that in black and red right now on Takamoto Co.
Okay, good deal.
There you go. I'm sure you can get it. You just have to wait a little longer.
Yeah. So okay, on to the next part of the show where we talk about click through the Amazon links, click through the Rocky Mountain links.
Send money.
Just I'll take
Email
it this time.
in if you want to buy a George sticker. I'll give you a very special price on the
Have you paid us for
the George emoji stickers.
Have you paid us for the banner thing you got running up there
Where's that?
on the TV screen?
Yes, he has.
He did. Where did that money go?
It was cash. It was like tips that you were giving him. He's like, no, put it towards towards my logo
Okay,
up there.
and
I
then,
think that was like $5,000 for that.
and you
weekend,
put it
wasn't it?
put it in your pocket.
No, you put it in your pocket.
Oh, I forget.
The cash never
Yeah.
left your hand. You handed it to George, and he said, no, put it towards the
emoji
the
sticker.
show
sticker,
because
yeah.
it's so
I
important.
probably handed it to somebody else.
I
That's
just
how
said
work.
support the show. This is good. It's good for people to hear this stuff.
Hey, we got a new sponsor coming on, by the way.
Mike's in Baja.
This is something else that's pretty cool. Costa Rica Unlimited tours. So if you want to go riding in beautiful Costa Rica Unlimited has great off-road riding in an amazing country with new gas, and KTM 2 and 4 strokes. With U.S. guides who have been hosting the tour for over a decade. The tours are catered to each group with ability from easier trails to technical single track. And you should see the Costa Rica Unlimited compound with 4 homes and an infinity pool and crazy lodging options.
So how did you learn about them, or how'd they approach you?
I went on one a long time ago, when we were on a Yamaha intro down there.
Because Danny Walker was posting. He was, I think, in Costa Rica on, I believe, like a paid tour go along thing.
It's probably this
It was-
one.
Yeah.
So the tours are 100% customizable. They're usually 6 days, 5 nights, 3 riding days, and are about $2,700 per rider. And you can even bring a non-riding friend for about $115 a night.
That's not bad.
No, those prices
feed
are
you?
not that bad. I don't have the specifics. They fed me.
Look
Yep.
into it. Do they have a
So-
website?
They have a website. Just search Costa Rica Unlimited. I didn't actually. It was a full last minute
I'm
deal.
just here to make you look good, Jimmy.
See,
That's
Trevor's
it.
supposed to give me all this stuff, but he didn't give it to me. But I'm just using this question sheet to
blot up the
blot up
water.
my mess. Yep, it's a mess. So great way to start now.
Boy,
I'm going to go thirsty.
for people, though, that have a little money and don't have any time, I think those organized tour things are actually pretty good and well worth it. You know, they want to pay, they want to be taken care of, they want to go do something in a little, you know, not search around, go up dead end roads and turn around. I think it's a way to go, and you can do that here too, right, with Johnny.
Sometimes.
Yep.
Yep, sometimes. Okay. What should we do? Let's go straight to the there it is, Costa Rica Unlimited.com. Just like I said. Mm-hmm. I think we should just go straight to the questions that are in the chat. Reward the chat viewers with
I'm not seeing any,
because everybody has all of their motorcycle questions answered. We do the telepathy thing beforehand, and I answer everybody's questions without them knowing about it. So we don't have a ton of them in the chat room. San Felipe Bob posted a picture of a bent crank today, didn't he?
Yeah, he was.
I was going to ask him how he managed to make that happen.
Yeah,
So.
I'm not sure if he's on the chat right now.
Yeah.
But Dirty Doyle does say, thanks for telling me the YZ144 kit was solid. Been riding it after the new top end and absolutely love it.
I told him it was solid?
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
I think it was a couple shows ago.
Oh, okay. Whose kit was it? Was it the Athena one?
That I don't remember.
Yeah, I forget. Maybe I was drunk.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Not these days. You've
No.
been on a program.
Yeah, happens every once. George, why don't you read the question there? One of those questions. I'll just stick it. Just this is what I'll do. I'll just start spilling stuff. Just start sticking the questions in Logan's head, and then I don't even have to read them.
Yeah,
I just read them right off his forehead. You don't have to say anything.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it Kyler Stoker?
Curly. Yeah. Go ahead.
Curly Stoker. If the cylinder appears fine, is there a time or point where the jug should be sent with a new piston and rings to be nickel sealed?
Mm-hmm.
Or just put in a new piston and rings as part of preventative care? I have a 17 TX300 with 320 hours, only changed piston one time at 200 hours, and I'd do it that way again. I'd feel for like the ring at the top of the cylinder if there's like a distinct thing you could flick your nail on going up there or something.
Yeah. So his question, he's a high hour bike. He's doing regular maintenance on it, and he's going, well, when do I need to replate the cylinder? So in other words, the question is, when does the cylinder wear out in relation to pistons? How many pistons can you run through a cylinder, or piston ring sets, whatever, before it becomes worn? And so my answer on this is kind of twofold. Different bikes have different life cycles. Some cylinders are harder than the pistons and they never wear out, and some cylinders are a little bit soft. And I've seen, and it to me, it's always been certain particular model years will be this way or that way. And there's certain KTMs that had super hard cylinders and they would never wear, and then the pistons would go a little bit quicker than the ones that I imagine there's some sort of ideal combination for the right hardness of that stuff. So,
but other than other than Mike in it, a couple of different directions and levels in there. Do you look for like the cross hatches that were?
Yeah,
in there?
You can look for it. And then like we're talking that it's never really had any dirt in it, but there's always going to be a little bit going through there, and no scars. If everything looks perfect, the idea is is it still round, or the way is it the way it's supposed to be? Is it still in spec? And I don't think most of us have the tools to really go and measure this. So here's my just garage mechanic talking. If you take the cylinder and you put a piston in it, and the piston lasts pretty much the same length of time as the first one, you're good. If you start noticing that you're losing performance, or oil's blowing by, or whatever, your rings are wearing out a little bit quicker, then I would start looking at the, if it's the same piston and rings. You're not switching brands, because that could cause a difference too. And I've seen different brand pistons wear cylinders differently, based on probably the hardness of them, hardness of the rings. So if you start seeing some sort of a change that isn't normal again, then look to the next thing. So, okay, I replaced the piston and everything, and instead of getting 150 hours or 100 hours out of that piston, now all of a sudden you're getting 75. Okay, if there's a way to measure it or take a good close look at it. Oftentimes I'll just take the piston without the rings in there, put it up in the cylinder and spin it. And if you notice it getting markedly tighter when it, and sometimes you got to do this when it's new, or do it the first time that you've ever changed it. Just see what it feels like and then kind of remember that, and then do that again. And if you notice, hey, oh man, it's really loose this way, but a lot tighter that way, then maybe it's starting, and they wear usually on the front and the backs more than the sides, just like the piston kind of does.
Because the rod's
that's the direction
moving it that way. Yeah,
that's the direction that it's being held, I think.
I haven't rebuilt a lot of bikes, but do they get that groove at the top of the ring where
it's usually buildup. And I saw somebody someplace was using that to explain whether you needed to. I was trying to think what they were using that to explain what you needed to replace. There was a way you could literally read that. Did it stop right at the ring, or did it go past the first ring? This might have been a 2-ring piston. It might have been something older, but there's all kinds of interesting, ways of doing this. But if you're, and most of the time, there's two kinds of people. There's the kind of people that just replace for the sake of replacing. It's not
Right.
Not necessary. They do it like at owner's manual specified levels or before. And then there's the other people that just never replace at all. They just let it run forever. And I like to think that I fall someplace right in the middle. I do it when I need it. And then, luckily I do keep some bikes long enough, way too long probably, to find out, to learn this kind of stuff, and a lot of us are, trying to keep older bikes running. And you learn, like KTM RFS bikes will never wear the cylinder out. The rings on some of them used to wear, but the cylinder never did. And they would run with very worn out rings, by the way. So that's.
So I'm not real familiar. I mean, it's a coating or something. Did he spell it right? Nickel cell.
Nicocil. No, I didn't spell it right. But you said
But basically, they coat it,
Nicocil, yeah.
rebore it or something. It
there's-
sticks on there, and they
I
must
think there's
rebore
a
it.
couple different places in the U.S. that do this. Well, they take the coating off. I don't know exactly how they strip the coating. Actually, it'd be interesting to go actually find that out. How they do the coating, but
Field trip.
field trip, yeah, to Iowa or wherever they do this. But they like to have the piston. They want to make sure it's matched to the piston. So that is kind of important when you do that. So anything
I
else?
was reading up there. Yeah, there's a bunch here. Bill Hall, with the current situation in the Ukraine, do you feel that a good defense is a great offense? ? Would you strike back on motorcycle-mounted infantry? And if you did, what kind of bike would you mount your attack on, and why? By answering this question openly and honestly, you could compromise national security. We, the audience of the Peanut Gallery, understand. I think a good way to strike back would
Was
be...
he asking you?
Well,
You're supposed to.
No, but I'm
you're supposed to.
interrupting.
You're supposed to ask the question,
I'm
and
just
then
gonna laugh and jiggle like Ed McMahon did.
you're being. Oh yeah. There we go.
Okay.
That's this. Yeah. Remember why I picked Logan as a co-host? I mean, I don't like to talk about myself that much, but
Okay.
that's
You go ahead and answer, and then I'll give him the right one.
okay. That's what I was hoping for. I was hoping for some commentary after the fact. I'll get in. I may be compromising my ability to ever go to whichever country I'm in favor of, because I like to run pretty neutral in this show. I don't like to have try to keep the politics and
You
stuff
want to be
out of it.
Switzerland for the rest of your life, huh?
No, I have
Aren't they the
opinions.
neutral?
I have opinions, but I just realize that my opinions can get me in a lot of trouble. So if I were, I wouldn't use motorcycles. I'd use lasers and sounds. I'd use drones, autonomous shit. Yeah, I don't. I did watch some videos of it sucks. It's I don't understand it. I really I don't understand why in this day and age we haven't learned like just why this is happening. I don't get it.
It's all about the money, Jimmy.
Yeah, I guess
And that's
so.
something you just don't think about.
Right.
So
You know,
I would have thought.
I'm just a rich kid.
You know, I'm always
that rides motorcycles.
I'm always looking out for you. I think the weapon of choice would be anything with a carburetor you got in your rental fleet as an IED, and just ride it straight into a tank pinned.
just jump off the back at a,
No, just
They-
ride it.
You would be amazed. No, you won't, because you were pointing this out. Most people would be amazed at how far a motorcycle will go if you just jump off the back and keep the throttle on. You know, just wire the throttle and let it go.
I was just thinking about
They're
this. We
really
should-
hard to knock over, so they'll go pretty damn straight. and
This would
hit
be a good
big bumps.
experiment. Maybe take one of the TTRs out on the lake bed and film it. And we should get it and just step off the back. Just get off the back and see what that thing does and follow it with a drone or something.
Why do you want to ruin my motorcycles? I've
Well, I
done this.
might do it with mine. I don't know.
I've done this before. Somebody gave me a
But I was
motorcycle.
cracked. So I one of the things I subscribe to on Facebook is the new motorcycle riders, you know, because I'm always interested in what, you know, people are asking and
Right.
wanting to know. And one of the things somebody posted, and I forget exactly how it read, but it was pretty good. Something about I was on my bike and the throttle got stuck open. And it did this and it did that. And it went here and it went there. And then I fell off. And it continued on and it like hit a car, glanced off, kept going down the street forever. So basically, once you took the rider off of it, this bike was doing pretty good on its own. It was pretty funny to read, but anyway,
what?
I digress.
So back to, you wanted to tell me how you were going to how you're going to win the war with motorcycles.
Yeah, IEDs, just send them. That was more a cheap plug for you to get rid of some of your carbureted bikes because
Oh,
I don't want them.
I got some KTM RFS bikes, some 250s. Those are sweet. Great, entry level, great practice bikes. Really good. Got a couple of them that are ready. They're hot on the.
Jimmy Lewis Off-Road's moving on to fuel injection.
Yeah.
So if you're old school and you want a carburetor.
You don't want fuel injection because it's like that's computers and they're controlling everything. You
Right.
should get-
What are you going to do if you break down?
There's no way you can have the same amount of power with fuel injection. So you get those carburetors because it makes more power.
We said all that about points and stuff like that too.
Points ignitions, they're real easy. I knew how to adjust them, and none of my friends did. So I was the mechanic guy. Okay, we have another one.
Oh, sorry. This last comment, it was separated here. It says, please respond soon because the price of fuel is putting a damper on my riding. So that was another strike at somebody there. Bill Hall, National Security Advisor for all motorcyclists around the country.
That's Bill.
What's that?
He's I think he was in the chat. I'm pretty sure he was in the chat earlier. I thought I saw a name like that. He's a national security advisor. What is he? He's just doing. He needs to do what he's doing. He needs to do.
Yeah,
Just
I don't know.
UBU, which is now an offensive term, by the way. Do you know that? If you say you do you, that's
Well, my pronouns are it and that, so I'm not sure that could be offensive, I guess, if you call me you.
yeah.
You's a sheep, though, isn't it?
It could be.
You'd spell that a couple different ways and have fun with it. So
Okay.
moving on.
Yeah.
Somebody named Jorge Hestis wrote in, and this is for Jim's benefit because he wanted to answer. But I wrote in, I declare shenanigans on worrying about having your forks compressed against the springs for transportation, not using a block from the tire to the triple tree. It's being damaging. What do you think?
If you're going to tie your bike down for like 6 days, I would start considering it. But for short
For what reason?
term, for what reason?
Just having the springs failing and get,
I don't-
spending times compressed? Because we used to have this argument years and years ago about leaving your magazines loaded
right.
because of springs, and those springs really get compressed.
Oh, now we're talking about guns on the show.
Yeah.
You just did anything. Politics, now guns.
We're talking about springs.
You got any religion?
Well, I could.
Okay,
but
let's
anyway,
get back
and-
to the guns
And it
and
was
springs.
basically dispelled that no, new springs,
So-
you don't really worry about that.
Yeah. So, again, I'm not a rocket scientist, and I barely play one on TV here on this show. But I've heard that the springs kind of until you fatigue them in some way, and by compressing them, like compressing them at a coil bound, and or heating them or doing something, I think they don't like being stretched as well. I don't
But you
think
can't really stretch one in a bike because it stops. at a
correct,
certain point.
but I don't think that having them under under pressure. I mean, you think about it. If your bike's on its side stand, they're constantly under a little bit of pressure, and I'm trying to think if I've ever really noticed, like, if I've ever really quote replaced springs because the spring was not acting properly. Like I've replaced. You change a piston because it wears out, but I don't know if I've replaced springs because they were in some older forks they were rubbing quite a bit and they were wearing on the sides, and we thought, okay, this could be bad. I've seen springs crack before, but I don't really think that just like I'd say a short term tie down would have that much effect on it. And
Well, I wonder if even a month or 6 months, if you took a spring and compressed it 6 inches, and and just left it like that, if when you stretched it back out, would it be shorter?
maybe
Or would it be softer? But I don't know. And then Jim's other question from the peanut gallery is, do you worry about the seals at all when it's compressed like that? What's the pressure that's really in there?
So that would be my larger concern would be the pressure inside there would be more of a problem. In other words, after a while, it would probably, I mean, if it's a really good seal and everything's clean, probably wouldn't leak. But if there's any sort of the ability to leak, that pressure is going to fatigue that part, that part of the seal.
But basically, more pressure should make the seal push harder against what it's sealing against, shouldn't it?
The way the seals are designed, yeah, they work a little bit like a balloon. There's a little bit of that effect in there, but like I think if it's just all constant, if there's any sort of a leak in there, it's going to get to it, and then it's going to start pressing the oil. It's going to start pushing the oil out.
So if you were going to, at one point, do you think you'd realistically become concerned that you don't want your fork under tension or something?
And if it were tied down for a week.
Really, that soon? I wouldn't, but I don't know anything either.
Yeah,
and I'm
I
not
don't-
that sensitive to the springs. I mean, it goes up and down.
I've never tied my motorcycle down for a week. It's usually tied for
You've never
a
had
couple
something
hours.
in your motorhome sitting forever? Or?
No, I
parked somewhere?
unhook. Like if I've never driven that thing for a week at a time, but it's been 3 or 4 days. Like I went cross country in 3 or 4 days. When I got there, I loosened them up. They're on loader. I loosened them up.
So it
and
is
stuff.
a concern. In your mind, it's a legitimate concern.
I'd like to. I mean, yeah.
But you never use those fork things that you jam in there and pull them down.
No, we used to a long time ago. We used to, especially when we used these other kinds of mounts, the ATK bike shoes. No, it wasn't the ATK bike shoes. What? It was another kind of a mount that we used where if you didn't put them in there, the bikes would fall over. And I think it might have been something in one of our vehicles that was at Cycle World or something. I can't recall, but I remember there was a time when there was some things that we were putting them in there, and I've seen people put like semi-deflated soccer balls and stuff in the.
I mean, it's
in
a
there.
good thing if you want to just keep it really tight in there. You don't. What you don't want to do is not pull the straps tight enough so that they compress in a bump and your strap comes unhooked
Right.
somehow.
Yep.
But I wonder what the peanut gallery thinks, or the audience. Sorry,
Did you call them peanut
Maybe
gallery
that.
again? Right.
the viewers. You want more?
Okay.
Okay. But really the only pressure in there, and tell me if I'm wrong, the only pressure in there is whatever the atmospheric air's compressing when the fork goes down. So if you had bleeders, compressed it, as far as the seal issue.
Yeah, you could
neutralize that
you
by just
could, but
bleeding.
then you're gonna want to make sure when you take it back out, you neutralize it, because then you've got a vacuum inside of there.
But then it rides softer, right?
It does.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, KTM 390 full test and Anadera Lopez. I haven't ridden a bike in probably 25 years, and especially after my brother was hit by some guy busy texting that came over into his lane after discovering the Itchy Boots channel. Do you know what that is?
No, it's probably better than this one though.
Okay. After discovering the Itchy Boots channel, I find myself being drawn back to possibly riding again, and I really like the idea of an adventure bike. One that is relatively comfortable on road, but that I could take over some gravel, dirt, and back roads. Not interested in true dirt bike riding, but would like to feel comfortable, capable of hitting a gnarly patch of road. I really, really like how the KTM looks. I've never ridden anything bigger than an old Suzuki 550 circa 1977, and I'm more comfortable on a 400. This new KTM has caught my eye, but my biggest concern is reliability. I don't think there's a reliability concern at all.
Then it took all that to get to the biggest concern is reliability. That's good, Matt. We need to edit those things down just a little bit. I mean, I like a little history, but not the life history. Well, sorry about your brother.
It's okay. Is this person out there?
Yeah, sorry about your brother. No, there's somebody that's on YouTube. So it was just a comment on one of the videos that we put up.
I don't want to censor the public. So.
Yeah. So I don't think you have to worry about reliability. How was the reliability on the ride the other day? Heather took that thing out.
Got her back.
Right? Okay, it's good. I sent my wife out on one, so I must trust the reliability. Man, I don't even drink, and I still slur. This is awesome.
Yeah, the same thing's been happening to me, too, so don't feel too bad.
Maybe I'm just all in a haze. Hey.
Oh, I find that two wheels comment up there interesting.
George, why don't you do this?
Oh, we got to do this?
You have to.
For motocross riders driven to dominate, the Yamaha YZ line of four-stroke bikes are built for victory. Visit YamahaMotorsports.com today to explore what's new and improved for 2022. The YZ 450F and YZ 250F bring the performance with powerful four-stroke engines, reduced unsprung weight, and new suspension settings. For the look of a full factory ride, both the YZ 450F and YZ 250F come in an exclusive Monster Energy Yamaha Racing Edition graphics package. And you can take precision tunability to the next level with the Yamaha exclusive and industry-only free Power Tuner app. Visit YamahaMotorsports.com today. Find your Yamaha YZ and enter the Yamaha Victory Zone.
That Power Tuner app is right here on my phone. I was going to show you it. Actually, somebody requested some maps from me the other day. They wanted some Jimmy maps because Jimmy maps are definitely better than anybody else's maps. You know this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I sent them to him and I never heard back. Yeah. Look at this Yamaha Power Tuning app. It's just like on the phone. It's like, look, I'll put it.
And are they still the only ones doing that?
The only one that's free. Yeah. Yeah. So it was pretty cool because I asked the guy, like, hey, what are you looking for? Like, he had tried something, and so I sent him two kind of distinctly different maps and said, hey, try these and get back to me. And you can email them. It's pretty easy to do. Email them, text them, people, then just load them into their bike, and in 10 seconds they have them loaded. And so it'd be interesting to hear back from him. Or he's just one of those guys. He's got the best map in the world. He probably just changed the name of it to the Bob map. He's got the Bob map in there now, and then he's telling all of his buddies he's got it, and it rips.
So I would assume, if they're smart, all that information from everybody that's got that app is shared back to Yamaha, and then when Yamaha gets 5 gazillion maps, they go, wow, maybe that's the way people want these bikes to run.
I would say there's a little bit of market research done on the backside of this. I think you do when you do check the little box that you share some information, but it would only be better. It would be really interesting to see what kind of maps people are putting into their bikes. And the funny thing is, a lot of people, they just want a map. They just give me the map, and it's so easy to do. You put it in, and then you can kind of feel the difference. But they're kind of afraid to actually go in and change them themselves.
And I kind of come from and fall into that category because I'm not into it. So I trust.
That's why you leave your bike laying around here, and then I just fiddle with it. And
well, whatever you're doing with my 300 seems to be working and impressing. But anyway, that two wheels
better than a 2022 Husqvarna factory Rockstar edition, allegedly.
Oh yeah.
Did we hear this?
No, actually, I heard the opposite.
You did.
Yeah, yeah,
From John?
yeah.
No.
He said mine ran better.
Yeah.
To me, unless he's just blowing smoke.
No, that's not what I heard. I heard he said he didn't like how hard it would hit. He said it was like riding a 250.
Yeah, it ripped.
He said it really ripped.
He said it ripped.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
And he said he didn't like the rip.
Yeah, it blew the doors
Okay.
off of his bike. Yeah, my tune blows the door. Everybody should get my tune.
But that
'cause it
makes
rips.
sense.
It
I mean,
depends on what
he
you want
didn't
from the car,
want.
though.
Yeah, he didn't
Yeah.
want that, but yeah, it rips.
Yeah, he said it
goes.
ripped, but it wasn't for him. I guess
But-
that's the moral of the story.
But it also chugs really good. Read two wheels up there. I find that whole thing interesting.
Two Wheel says, I have a 2019 Honda Sierra 450L, which has known sluggish throttle issues, especially at slower speeds. I wouldn't describe it as that, but
No.
most forums recommend either a Vortex ECU or a JD tuner, plus an aftermarket exhaust. What are your thoughts?
So, what year was the bike?
The one
You
that I
had
had here?
you had a
So-
X, you had the L, and then you had the
the X and L, both of them.
yeah, and then there was the 250 or something. Logan's
Uh-huh.
rally bike. Was there the 250,
250L?
rally right about that time?
Yeah,
Was-
yeah, we
or
had
L?
all those. They had all
It
those.
was an L.
Yeah, they had all those things around here.
Because
So,
Jim and I were just talking about this today on the Hondas.
So, what are my thoughts are explained in detail on www.dirtbiketest.com. Just search Honda Sierra 450L, and I promise you that the test or some of the modification things will come up. In fact, that was long enough ago that I don't remember exactly what I said or did, but I'll tell you what I think I did.
So recluse in
the-
it.
that's the way to smooth the clutch out. It's it was a really good fix for the clutch, and that was on X or L. But the L, I wouldn't call it sluggish throttle. I would call it kind of jerky throttle. It's
Yes.
like at low speed, it's kind of lean and a little bit surgy. It's the kind of thing that adding just a little bit of fuel will kind of tame down. But because of emissions and stuff like that, I'm sure it's running a little bit lean, and it has a very, very restrictive and very quiet. I wouldn't call it restrictive. It's more a very quiet muffler that there's a certain point when you kind of cross the line with restriction inside of a muffler where it gives that kind of that jerky character, because it basically, when your exhaust valve opens up, there's a lot of back pressure in there. It just can't, it's not flowing out. You don't have like a tuned exhaust that's literally sucking the exhaust gases out. Now it's kind of packing and has to pump it out. So it makes and there's a point where at low RPMs, there's enough volume inside the exhaust where it goes, and then it sort of plugs up. It becomes a pump. So there's a couple things there. That bike, the L, is tuned to run with that muffler and run the best it can to do what it does. Is it jerky? Yes. And so the difference between a Vortex ECU or a JD tuner are two different things. The JD tuner is what we call a piggyback system. So in other words, it interrupts the signal that goes to the fuel injector, and it alters the duration of the pulse. So how much fuel, and you can make it richer or leaner to adjust the fueling. The Vortex ECU is a completely different ECU that alters not only the ignition, not only the fueling, but it also alters the timing, the ignition timing. So they do stuff with both, and you kind of get the maps that it comes with. I think they actually come with 10 different maps, and you can kind of pick. You can pick which one you want, but you can put a switch on it, and you can switch between two. And the Vortex has some capability to kind of adjust the low, medium, and high RPM fueling. In other words, you can make it a little bit richer, a little bit leaner in each one of the maps with a screwdriver, essentially. There's some buttons on the ECU. Sometimes the Vortex ECU will allow you to have a higher rev ceiling. So the Vortex ECU will do a lot more. My issue with them is that they're like on all the different tunes, it says for this pipe and this, that, it's never exactly what your system is. So you might have to do some individual tuning, and I've had some on my bike that worked pretty good, and I've had other ones that were way worse than stock. So it just kind of depends on how you have the bike set up. Personally, and what we did on our bike was we put a piggyback tuner on it. We put I believe it was a JD tuner on that bike, and then we also played around with a couple different exhausts. We put the X exhaust on, which kind of was my favorite because it remained quiet.
You put that on the L bike?
Really quiet. Yeah, it's hard to you have to bend a tab. It doesn't bolt right on, even though it's exactly the same. It was probably the quietest, and for real dual sport and keeping quiet. And then we put some different slip-on exhausts on it, and those were okay. It really depends on what you want. I really like how quiet that bike is, and so if you want to go with a full race thing, I think the more you're going to kind of race type stuff, you would lean more towards the Vortex. But then you're just kind of opening up this rabbit hole because there's a point very quickly on where you're going to realize, oh, the cam isn't the right cam. You want to have a different cam, and then you realize, okay, well, the head probably could be a little bit better, and you're just going to start chasing this if you're actually chasing after power, because I know what Johnny Campbell does to their race bikes. They start with X's and then they turn them into race bikes and stuff. So, yeah, there's lots of different things you can do with that, but you can see what we did, and the X and the L respond very similarly, although the ECUs are quite a bit different. Like where the plugs are in the ECU is actually different. So you can't just take an X ECU and plug it into an L. Yeah.
Guess that's by design or what?
Yeah, so you can't alter it. Honda would get in trouble if they made it easy to alter and modify these things, because we have that government agency that likes to come after this stuff.
Rusty Schatz.
Yeah.
That sounds a little nasty. Mm-hmm. Long-time watcher, first-time commenter, riding for 20 years, but off-road for the last 4 years. Why does KTM 500 EXCF not have a neutral light? This is a dirt bike thing.
It's a KTM thing.
Wait, too.
Oh, yeah, because that
light,
light.
Then there's got to be some sensor pickup put in the bike.
They have it. It's in there. There's a sensor in there that knows when it's in neutral.
There it. Oh,
but KTM has always been just their dual sport bikes. Are very, very minimalistic, and they have the least amount of stuff, which is what that type of rider wants.
Rusty needs to come to the class, because why are you trying to find neutral? Under what conditions?
Well, he's a commuter.
With a light.
Oh no, he's a commenter, first time commenter.
Because how do you stop your bikes most of the time?
Pulling the clutch and then I stall it.
I think you let out the clutch and stall it.
Well, I pull in the clutch to stop, just to stop. So, because pulling in the clutch is just like being in neutral. Actually, most of my bikes have a recluse clutch, so I never have to put it in neutral. And in fact, with a recluse clutch, the way I set it up, it's almost impossible to find neutral.
Yeah.
Because it's always dragging. It just won't hop into gear.
Click it while you're rolling.
And I've been known to go onto my shift prongs and round it down so it doesn't catch.
But on most
neutral.
bikes, you just kill it in gear, right?
Yeah. If I want it, if I
parking it or something.
Why would you want it to be in neutral? I'm just thinking.
A lot of people, I think it's a street bike thing mostly, but a lot of people really always want to stop and have it in neutral.
Put it in neutral before they shut it off.
Sometimes it can be easier to start because you don't have that little bit of drag. But
because they climb on their bike with the kickstand down, and then they got to start the bike, and if it's in gear, it won't start with the kickstand down. Oh yeah, I understand all these problems.
But anyway, neutral lights.
Yeah, Hondas have them. Yamahas, I think, have them.
Apparently, Flynn825 says the WR450F has a neutral light built right in. Great.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think Yamahas have them. So, Flynn also says Trail Power Map along with a G2 Tamer has helped me manage a 450 in the slower stuff. So, what kind of 450 is that, Flynn? Is that the? Yeah? So the G2, he's talking about a throttle tube that alters the ratio of the way that the basically the butterfly valve or the slide opens up in the carburetor. So those of you with really jerky wrists, sometimes that can help. I like the gnarliest throttle setting, aggressive setting ever.
Victor, he's got a comment up there.
Okay.
Need a neutral stop and Need a neutral O.
to stop and take a
Two.
leak
He
during the
misses-
ride?
Yeah, because he has to leave his lousy bike running so he doesn't have to kickstart it. Yeah.
Yeah, neutral. I guess because if you have a good bike, you just stall it and then just start it right back up again.
Yeah.
And go. It's like a dead engine start
I
every
think
stoplight.
Victor rebuilds his own batteries. I've seen that on Facebook. He cuts it open. He melts the lead. Yeah.
Peas in it for the acid, right?
See, now Rusty's waffling. Oh, that was just a question for my girlfriend. Sure.
Oh.
Yeah, right. Okay, we get it.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
girlfriend wants to know where neutral's at.
Yeah, I knew a guy that did this once. It was so stupid, right?
Yeah.
That's that kind of story.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad your girlfriend is. Tell her to watch the show. Have her join in. Send pictures.
And I know T.W. Hicks, it's just down there a little bit. He says that the out-of-the-box tuning is for the birds or something like that. He likes custom tuning.
Oh,
those
custom
things.
tuning. That's why you should get a Yamaha with the Power Tuner app, or get a YZ125. Then you can actually jet the carburetor if you want to do some special stuff.
Oh, yeah. Jets on the trail are always fun. I did that for a while.
Yeah.
Viva Mexico to Victor.
Well, see, I tell you, you get half an hour into the show, and the chat room lights up.
Yeah. Flying to Victor, stop to pee. What?
Do it Johnny
Just
Campbell
keep
style.
rolling.
Just let it rip.
Yeah,
Let's
well.
go. Hey, Will Anderson has a question. It says, "Hey guys, what are people using for race insurance? I live in Canada, and will be traveling down for the Odessa 100 on April 2nd and 3rd. The only option I have found is $1,000, which seems insane." That sounds insane to me. Is this what people are paying? I really enjoy the show. Thanks. Well, Will, I thought you Canadians got free insurance up there, but
Not
evidently
when they come here and race motorcycles.
Evidently, it doesn't work when it's down here. But I can understand wanting to be covered, and I suspect it would be ridiculously expensive for insurance. Knowing when I used to race, when I told them what I did, my insurance rates became astronomical.
Well, what's the popular one? I know there's like Air Med Jet, and then the other one though I think is better. It's what is the good one? They'll send Ross Perot for you to get you out of the country if it goes weird or something. Which I should get that because I'm probably going to Europe here in a couple of months.
Really, are you going there as a missionary? Mercenary,
No.
not missionary. A missionary.
No.
George would be a better missionary. Yeah, mercenary. You're going to go there, soldier of fortune? You going
No.
there? I heard there's a few bucks on Putin's head.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I heard there's an easy million on it right away.
Not a job for me.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for work.
Yeah. So if you do go over, well, so like you said, this is what I was going to suggest is that if you have your insurance back home, your free medical insurance that you guys get up there, it evidently is so much better than ours. That's why I know a lot of people that come down here to use our doctors and pay cash because they didn't get it fixed right.
Yeah, that's what we need is socialist medicine.
True story. Then what you want to do is get one of these piggybacks on your current insurance policy that'll evacuate you to wherever we're going to go. And Matt,
MedJet,
are you hearing
MedJet
you
Air,
hearing-
I think, is the
MedJet
one
Air.
that's pretty
Are you
popular.
hearing that?
Yeah, I am.
We got some noises here.
It's probably coming from this.
No, it's not coming from that. It's
I'm
not
not-
that.
I'm
It's-
not hearing it on the broadcast. Oh, now I am.
There are some bad noises on the show.
Oh, look at that.
Is it?
Was it that?
Yeah, it was when you picked up your. Yeah, get that thing away from that wire. Take your phone away
Give me
from the
the
wire.
mic.
No, you're not allowed to have anything that has wires on it. So MedJet Air or something like this. So it's a supplemental insurance policy. You can get a lot of if you have a tracking device, like the thing that I have on my ankle that doesn't let me leave the country. You can piggyback on that policy. That one actually finds you no matter where you're at. They just take you someplace else. But this way, if you get hurt, then they'll take you, like pick you up from wherever you get injured, take you to the hospital, and then also transport you back to the hospital of your choice. And that's what I would do. And it's like kind of like a yearly policy.
So you're talking about these MedJet things and everything.
Yeah.
And it is probably $1,000 to do it a year or something like that.
No, they're it's like $150. Yeah, it's not that expensive, but usually it comes it's a much better deal when you get it kind of in conjunction with your tracking device, or I've seen it offered.
Oh yeah, pigtails off of like the Garmin,
like the
or the
Garmin
spots
InReach
and
or
all
the spots. Yeah, I've seen it. I've also seen it. Like you can get it like if you have you have a CMA, an AMA, American Motorcycle Association. Sometimes has things for this. So maybe check with your motorcycle association and see if they do that.
But I know that Air Med Jet, they have different levels, like that repatriation thing. If the country goes wonkos, they'll get you back.
Okay.
And then you can also add on there, they'll get your bike back to your country of origin or something like that.
You
So
know,
if you're down in
you know,
Baja and wadded up,
this would
they'll
be a
get your
really
bike
good
up
question to go ask the some of the Horizons Unlimited guys. These are the guys that ride around the world, and they probably are faced with this all the time. Although I do know that Canadians they can only come down here for a certain amount of days before their insurance runs out on them or something crazy.
Right.
Yeah. Just talking to some.
The other thing is don't underestimate the community and what those people will do for you. Like getting a bike back. If you reach out on the social platforms and stuff, there's a lot of good people out there that would.
Yeah, especially like
help you
it
out.
races up at up there. I think you'll find some people that'll help you out. I would hate to.
Was he from Canada? Is that
He's
what it
from
was?
Canada. Yeah.
I got a place up by the border. I'd store a motorcycle for him if he was wadded up down here.
Would you ride it?
No, I'd just take it up there.
Just take it to the. What you do is you take it
Bury
to
it.
the border. No, you take it to the border and you wire to the throttle and just stand
just
about 100
get
yards
off
behind
it.
and make sure he's on the other side because you don't want to deal with those Canadian border guys. Like
Right.
they're not too happy, especially you've been drinking. You don't want to.
Oh,
do
they're
this.
serious.
Yeah.
I still get secondary searched every time I go up there.
Yeah, so you just wire that throttle and just send the bike right through the border, like like ground mail. Yeah. So, okay. Doug Derby wants to know: does Jimmy rebuild all the engines on the class bike as well as his own collection?
I answered some of that, or I commented on that one a little bit.
Well, you should answer it now because everybody on the show is not reading your comments.
You don't really do big full rebuilds unless they're necessary. There's not a lot of these bikes,
Matt.
you wait for something to happen, I think.
Yep.
Matt.
What's up?
Matt. Did you hear what George just said?
You don't really do full rebuilds unless it's necessary.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it ever necessary?
Well, it is if you read the manual, piston every 40 minutes or whatever it is, and
No. I mean, I don't pay
no,
attention to
you
that
don't
too
take
much.
stuff apart unless you're curious to just check how it's doing,
Yeah.
and or whatever. But
Matt.
Yeah, it's necessary sometimes.
Yeah.
oh, that's what you're searching for. Didn't he blow one of yours up or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's
Yeah.
referring to.
Yeah. KTM 500, like some valves.
Yeah,
Some
it
little
was
valve.
just-
I just got the head back.
Just ticking a little, so I'll ride it back to camp and get lost, right?
I told him to go straight back to the truck.
It
I
happens.
thought it was straight back.
Yeah, he did the zigzag back and
Right.
came up a little short. Like it's not, no, there's no hard feelings or anything like that, right, Matt?
No.
Okay.
It's just fuel for the fire to give me shit.
Yeah. See the head sitting on the bench? Looks almost brand new.
I did not see the head.
Yep.
No.
There's a receipt next to it too. You could look at that.
So what happened with that? What was the failure on that?
The
Other than
rider?
getting it back to the truck earlier.
The
What failed?
so I believed that I thought that the retainers on the valve, the keepers.
Went in one way and you really put them in
No,
another
they-
way?
no,
Is
they-
that where this is going?
No, they were in there for 250 hours or whatever. Since I mean, a long time because I don't know if that's the one I replaced the valve guide seals on or not. One of the 500s I did, and I didn't remember exactly which one it was. But when I finally got the thing all apart, I couldn't find the shim for the one that fell out. And because it had gone down to the bottom end, but I got the head off, and when I started inspecting it, the retainers were totally worn out. I mean, they were half the size of normal ones. And I've heard of this before. I've heard some of them they didn't have the right heat treating, but the guys I sent the head to, they said they've never seen this before.
The valve dropped down in the cylinder. Is that what
Yeah,
happened?
that's what eventually what happened. So what happened is I think that the heat treat was wrong on the shim, and the shim wore all the way down. And so, it's a shim running on a tappet, and it was, and the shim was half the thickness that it should have been. And I found it down on the bottom. It was down on the bottom end, stuck to the I don't think it was stuck to the ignition. It was stuck to something magnetic. But anyways, when I fished this thing out, when I started pulling the bottom end apart, because I thought maybe when I pulled it apart, it had dropped out on the bench or something. I just couldn't find it. When I finally found it, I'm like, oh, here's the problem. So that shim, I don't think it was properly heat treated or something, and it lost its surface and it just wore out, and it got really loose. And even then, the day you were riding it, the tick started out one way, and it increased and increased.
Yeah, it kept getting worse.
And when I heard it, I saw you and I heard it, I said, okay, this is bad. It'd been ticking for a while. Like, we're talking 3 tanks of gas, and this is a 5-gallon tank. So it had been ticking for a while, and it wasn't really getting that much worse. And I had recently checked the valves, and they were in spec. So I'm like, okay, I knew something was gonna give. That's why I'm not really that upset about it.
So you were the last one to work on that motor.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you heard it ticking and gave it to Matt to ride.
I told him his ride may get cut short.
Okay.
But I told him to pay attention. This is all true. I told you the ride may get cut short. Pay real close attention to ticking. If it gets worse, we just need to cruise it back.
So you had all these warning signs. You knew something could.
I knew something
be
was
up.
but I checked everything, and it wasn't getting worse. And when I was riding, I was paying really close attention the whole time I was riding it, and that's why I told him to do the same thing, and he did. And when he came over and said, "Hey, what does it sound like?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's bad. You need to ride back."
Know what it sounds like to me? You should fire your mechanic.
It sounds like
At least cut his pay.
It sounds like I set Matt up. Is
You
what it
should
sounds
cut
like.
him by a pay grade.
Yeah. I think I was 1,000 feet from the truck when it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many extra miles do you think you rode to get there? Because had that got to the truck,
I think I added an extra mile. Yeah.
I would have taken it. I would have taken. So here's net. Here's what happened. So I sent the head in with the broken valves and the punched hole in the head and all the other stuff that happened from it, and luckily it happened at a low RPM, so there was no bottom end damage really. Had I taken it off, it would have just required, I guess, like about $150 less labor because they had to weld and do the head. They would have replaced all the same things on the head. The guides needed to be redone, and so basically it's a brand new head without being a brand new head. And I wanted to see the work that this shop did and see what it would cost, and just nutted up and did it. And I'm probably going to buy a brand new head and build it up myself.
So what do
for
you
a spare.
think? What do you think parts the total cost of something like that is?
Oh, I know what it was. It was like $1,600.
Okay.
And
But that's not $3 or $4 or something.
A new head would have been $1,400 if I would have just bought all new. Maybe a little bit less because I don't think, because the rocker arms are pretty pricey in that head. So
That's a pretty catastrophic failure in my opinion, for $1,600 in parts. That doesn't sound terrible.
But $1,600 doesn't sound that bad. No. Oh, it could have been much worse. If he would have been going down the road like at 40 miles an hour and that valve would have come out, we would be talking cylinder and probably rod. And I was gonna have the crank rebuilt and everything too. And I pulled the cases apart and stuff, and it's brand new.
So scroll up a little. Somebody said something about the club putting on this Canadian.
So for
Not the Canadian.
Restream updated, so I can't scroll.
Molly Swanson says, "I'm the girlfriend who wants the neutral light. Tuning in for the first time. Thanks for the laughs."
Great.
Hey, and I'm glad she took that way, because you know what's funny is, in all honesty, some people need a neutral light because it's hard to find that half shift, is what it is, and it's funny because
easiest way to find it is to turn the motor off, or to kill it and rock the bike back and forth.
Yeah, that works too. Or you could just feather the clutch out, and if nothing happens, then you're in neutral. But having dealings with, and Matt does this a lot too, with beginner riders and stuff. It's like they just don't know because they don't know. There's no groundwork. I've just been doing this for 45 years, riding motorcycles, and so it's just so natural to me.
Doing it longer than that, Jimmy. You're what, 50?
I don't remember. I don't want to pick on people and I don't really want to make fun of them, although
Yeah,
it's
you
kind
do.
of it's kind of fun. It's
You
kind
just
of
kick them off their motorcycle when they don't see it coming, right? You don't pick on people.
oh, you thought you were winning
You
the
just
slow
laugh
race.
at a guy.
Yeah, I Lafferty'd you. I did that, and I said, oh, I forgot about his bad knees. I could have really hurt him, but it's what happens.
I'm glad you had that kind of confidence in
I knocked George over
my
this
cat-like
weekend.
instincts.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know, John was going to try and get revenge for George, but then you popped up in a wheelie, and John said
Yeah,
he couldn't
he
kick
was
you
gonna
once
clip you.
on one wheel.
But anyways, hey, Molly,
Picking on
thanks
the
for
seniors.
thanks for tuning in and enjoying the show. And there is a need for a neutral light. But here I want to teach her how to practice this. So take your bike, put it in gear, put it in first gear, and don't go anyplace. And just feather the clutch out so you can feel it moving, and then practice that half shift up. And it's a different feel than the full shift. It's just you're just basically just trying to take the pressure off that lever, and it'll pop into neutral essentially. And then when you let the clutch out, the bike won't go anywhere. And then pull it in, click it up in a second, and the same thing. Practice that half shift down. And if you start letting the clutch out and the bike wants to move, well, it's probably either still in second or maybe it's back in first. And then you got to figure it out. I always usually, if I want to find neutral, I'll always go down to first and then half shift up. That's the.
But remember, when you're trying to go down to first, the harder you push it isn't good. Just click it down. Well, people do that because they don't know.
You see the whole
and they
foot,
think,
the
oh,
hammer.
it didn't go. Well, is it resetting again? When you got to take your foot all the way off of it so it resets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have to let it
you
come.
don't just keep whack.
You have to let the
That's when you
shift.
mess
You
things up.
have to let the shift lever return to the middle position, the neutral position, middle. And then the other thing, you can also do this like with the bike off in gear. You can put it in first gear and roll it, and okay, click, it's in gear. Then practice that half click up, and then it kind of rolls a little bit. So you can do it with the bike on or off, and then just get comfortable with it.
It also helps if you
And
are
then you'll-
just in
you'll-
the habit of having it in the right gear for your speed, and you don't just, in fourth gear, pull in the clutch and come to a stop, or third gear. If you keep your gears close to whatever speed you're in, you're probably in second or first.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of times you find bikes in gear and you start to rock and you find out, why'd this guy
third.
park this thing in like fourth gear?
Like me all the time.
But anyway,
Hey,
Stump jumpers.
What was her boyfriend's name?
It
was
Rusty Shat.
Rusty Shat.
Rusty
And here
Shats.
and that. But actually, what you really need to do
Rusty shats himself.
is you need to tell Rusty that he needs to wire a damn light up no matter what bike it is. He needs to figure out how to go into the wiring harness and make a light come on.
So while we're on the,
Even though where neutral's at. That's only when he's being a ding dong.
while we're on
And
the,
don't let Rusty teach you how to ride. Come to a
Yeah.
third-party professional or something.
I know some professionals.
or go to Jimmy Lewis Off Road / online courses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talk about putting the bike in neutral in that class, don't we?
We talk about shifting. Yeah.
Shifting, yeah.
Yeah, which is something that is actually really difficult for a lot of beginner riders to understand.
Well,
Shifting what? The motorcycle?
Yeah.
It's
Your
difficult because
Gender? What do we shift here?
you get to religion tonight, and I think I'm going to have to.
George, talk about me. I'm the devil.
So, the shifting, the whole shifting thing, it's difficult because especially when you're sitting down, it's kind of easy. But when people start trying to stand up, they can't shift because all of a sudden their bike turns.
Yeah.
Don't ask us why, because we know. Okay. San Felipe Bob's in the chat. Ask about the bent rod.
Well,
And what's next?
Well, I'd like to point out that he said I was set up. Also want to point out that Craig Albert said if the KTM had a neutral light, it wouldn't have blown up. So just wanted to throw those in there.
If my KTM had a neutral light, it would not have blown up.
Yeah.
How does that work? Explain that to me.
Well, Craig's gonna have to explain it.
Okay. Yeah. I don't.
So I got to ask the audience something here. Just if the audience post up where you're from and watching where you're from, like city, state, and how you learned about this show.
You're so bored with,
I want
with
to
our
engage.
awesome show. Oh,
I just want to have people engaged, and they want to feel to be part of it.
okay.
So just tell us a little bit. We're doing a little market research here because there's something Something huge coming.
Oh, there is? Okay.
No, but I just thought
I'm glad I don't know about any of this on my own show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it have to do with me?
Yeah, it does. And you might not be a part of it.
Right. Hey, Redneck Supreme Leader 69 is back. And he says, my 21 300 XCW came with cast triple trees. Is it worth the dollars to buy a set of forged ones to do hair scrambles? What are the pros and cons? Well, it depends on what your XCW. So, okay. So typically the forged, the billet ones, are they forged? Machined billet? They're forged? No.
The forged ones are like the stock ones.
Stock ones are forged. Yeah.
Forged, stamped,
Cast.
and the other ones are like on the...
Yeah, machined. They're machined billet. So like forged. It could be
Forged
forged.
and cast are the same thing, aren't they?
No, forged
No.
is like stamped.
Yeah, it's pressed.
When they press it, cast, it looks like sand on the
Pour
outside.
liquid into
Yeah,
something.
they pour it in.
So,
Yeah. So
But I thought,
So he's talking about like the billet. I think he's talking about like the billet, most of the aftermarket ones. And there are so many different triple clamps and setups, ones that have slots in the middle that have different amounts of pinch.
so you laugh about my followers. How many of my followers are on tonight?
Your followers?
Well, Ricky's on here, and he's...
Yeah, who else?
Yeah.
I saw at least
So
two or
there's
three
one.
more.
I think there was 2 more.
Yeah.
You paid him to do that, didn't you?
No,
you
I didn't.
texted him. That's what you're doing with your phone. You texted him
Michael
and you
Pounds.
paid him.
Where's Michael Pounds? Because
Carmichael, California.
yeah, that's close to me. Real close.
Yeah, there's 3 saying that George sent him here, but one of them is George's wife, so I don't know
Well,
if
that's
we really
okay.
count that one.
Okay, so let's get back to the triple clamps. So there's all
this
different.
is more
there's-
interesting up here, though. Okay,
You see, you're
sorry.
bored. You're bored with my show.
No, let me read the question because I already forgot what came out of your mouth.
So the triple clamps, there's all different kinds, and here's the problem with them: is until you actually ride with them, you're not going to know exactly what they do. Generally, they tend to be stiffer. They and stiffer in that they kind of transmit more of what the bike is doing up through the handlebars to the rider, depending on whether they're rubber mounted and what kind of bars you have and all this other stuff. I see the trend of everybody is going to, putting bars that flex on, not just flex bars, but like the Makos, the triple clamps and the bar dampening stuff. I see everybody going in that direction, but going to stiffer, some riders want this kind of more precise handling feel. And I think you've got to be really pushing it, or you're a bigger, stronger, heavier rider that is starting to feel something that you're not getting out of the stock XCW clamps. And, a lot of riders are going to completely different fork setups for the same reason. They're going to like the kit suspension, which ends up being bigger and stiffer in a lot of cases as well. So
those machined ones, though, are those forged? Because I thought it was more like they're either machined out of billet
yeah,
or they're cast.
it's
I don't know that they're cast aluminum.
it's not No, they don't
Is
think.
billet in itself forged? Maybe.
Aluminum stock, some kind of fancy...
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm
We
not-
need a metallurgist out there to
Yeah.
come in.
Yeah,
Reach out to your
they-
friends.
It kind of doesn't really matter whether it's forged or cast. The end result is like how stiff is it? This is the question. And I don't know of anything that's going to be that much that less stiff than the stock XCW ones. Although maybe some of the ones with the slot, and you see them, they have bolts that are offset, like one bolt on one side and one bolt on the other side with a big slot cut in the middle. And there's a lot of different companies making this stuff, and it's a rider preference, kind of a feel thing, but it's pretty difficult unless you get the opportunity to do some back-to-back testing to really understand how that stuff works.
Pizza guys in the chat room
Yeah.
up there.
And a lot of the times when companies would want us to test their triple clamps, I remember it was in the magazine, they'd say, "Oh, we'll just come out and bolt it right on," and you're kind of like doing a back-to-back. And that doesn't get swapped out in 10 minutes, usually like 20 or 30 minutes. And most of the time, the tracks would have changed enough in that 20 to 30 minutes to make it really difficult a lot of times to feel, sometimes.
Don't some of those triple clamps, I know in like the flat track world, they adjust so you can change the fork angle. You can put different shims in there and kick them out.
So they have offset races, so it actually changes the steering angle a little bit. Some of them have different offsets in them so that you can take the stem out and turn it around 180 degrees and move it a couple of millimeters forward or aft. There's and then the whole clamps themselves might be a different sort of an offset, so they're pushing them farther forward or pulling them back. And then some of them have different bar positions, like where the bars are positioned on top of the clamps. So there's all kinds of adjustability there, and it really depends on kind of what you're searching for, and what the issue is. I would always go, what's the problem, and what are we trying to fix? Because there might be an easier way to fix it, and sometimes you make sure the torque is correct in your stock triple tree or triple clamp. Make sure the every bolt that's on that thing, from the ones that are holding your handlebars on to the pinches underneath to all that stuff, make sure that torque is correct. And if you want to change the feel a little bit, try adding 2 to 3 foot-pounds of torque to some of those bolts. And same thing with your axle clamps.
You got to be careful about
squishing
your
lower
forks.
Right? Yeah, it takes quite a bit to squish them, but you can tighten them up a little bit. Also, pinching your axle clamps a little bit tighter can change the feel. So you can actually see what that direction would feel like if you do some of these things. So
I think it might be time for a commercial break.
Oh, yeah? Offset axles. Victor is talking in Spanish. Conrad says, "What's up?" Can I comment on the counter shocks device? I don't know what the counter shocks.
We'll look that up on break.
Is.
I'll see if I.
Okay, I'm gonna go get some more stuff in my Better Rider cup here to spill on the table again, and clean up this mess that you've made, George.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come back with Rooster Endo.
Let's Rooster Endo after the commercial break. Everybody will see you in a few minutes.
What's up, Moto Buddies? Mike here from Taco Moto Co. What is the Taco Touch? It's the best service in the industry. Virtually 24/7 tech support via email or text, and it's like having a dirt bike doctor on call every day of the year, helping you fix your bike or recommend parts or setups for you. If you've ever received an order from us, you know that the Taco Touch extends to our fulfillment, and our orders come with the coolest stickers that you've ever had, buying parts from anybody before, and a handful of root beer barrel candies. All of our Taco Moto co-branded components come with a no questions asked lifetime warranty, and we'll even extend out the warranty of other manufacturers, OEM, and aftermarket parts where we can, sometimes for life. We test and tune endlessly and exhaustively and obsessively. We're trying to destroy everything that we can before you get your hands on it to look for weaknesses and to improve it, or to make recommendations to the manufacturer. And if it's something that doesn't meet grade, then we don't offer it on the store. Everything that we carry is something that we have personally used, tested, and ridden, and raced, and knows meets the high Taco Touch demanding standard. Go out and get some adventure.
We are doing our research on the counter shocks. I thought it might have been I thought it was a misunderstanding of the Trax shock, but the counter shock is a what, George?
It says counter shocks is a bolt-on device designed to provide a tuned counter reaction to obstacles in racing and extreme racing environments. Impulses to the front fork are used to provide an automatic reactionary force that the rider no longer has to provide through the handlebars.
Is this like an inertial dampener?
No, it looks like it's all hard parts from the bit I see, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe Matt can find a.
I have that because I just stay away
find
from
a
those
picture of that and throw it up on the screen so I
extreme
can
things.
see what it is, because I have absolutely no idea.
I'll do some research.
Okay, while you do some research, we are gonna start working on getting our rooster endo thing here. But just things ways are going. I'm gonna light a candle here, George. Just gonna light a little candle and put it up on the stage because I just thought I should.
Okay.
That nice? I don't know why, but
Oh, that's a good place for
Yeah,
it.
that's
Front
a
of all
fire
that
hazard right
trash and vapor. Especially after we mopped up all the water.
oh yeah. It's just just good times here. It's a scented candle. I thought you maybe just get the mood right in here. So this is our Rooster Endo segment. If you're not familiar with Rooster Endo, this is where you send us a picture of your bike, tell us a little bit about it, and you are lobbying for us to, We'll talk about your bike. We'll have some
You
comments on
can
it.
win things here.
And you can win a $100 gift certificate from Taco Moto. That's tacomoto.co. And you could use that money to buy a funnel like this.
Or at least 3 of them.
Yeah.
In
possibly
all
3 of them.
colors. But you got to show so on the roost side, which is apparently positive in this, off the chart here.
Yep.
Can we show this somehow? Is there a way to show?
Yeah, it'll slide it all the way
we got to
over
do
there.
another thing.
It's way out there, too.
We're going to hit that candle.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
we can't get it in the camera. Anyway, it's Jimmy's.
I just want to start seeing it flame up.
Jimmy's Husaberg
I'm
570.
genuinely scared.
And then, but on the endo side, and my friend Sarah
I can't
out
even see
there,
the candle. Hold on, I'm going to put it back over here.
my friend Sarah,
Literally
who's
playing with
watching, I
Yeah,
think,
see, look, it's right there. It's on.
she needs to look at what's on the endo, which he says is the worst side.
It's way over here.
Well, put it up there in front of you.
Well,
Here.
I think if you
Let's just lift this up. Lift this up.
Okay, and slide it over this way. We didn't have these Tacosauruses all over the
So
place. with
what's
your
that?
Advertising.
What's that on the bottom there?
This thing right
That's
here.
big red, baby.
That thing right
That
there.
thing should be the roost. That is my 3-wheeler.
Yeah, it's the worst thing in the world.
Okay. Anyway, you got a picture? You ready?
Yeah, trying to light my arm on fire.
Jack
here.
Hewitt, which I don't know where you're at, but if you're on the chats, you need to speak up. 2022 KTM 500 EXCF, Warp 9 Supermoto wheels, Get ECU, FMF 4.1, Race Tech rear spring for 210-pound rider, lights and other
That's almost as heavy as I used to be.
lights and other cosmetics. Well, you lost 15 here recently, right?
Yep.
What's that on the pipe?
It's the thing so when you low side it and it goes sliding down the road, that it doesn't scratch up your titanium FMF. He needs to have something like that on the swing arm too. Those dragging things on the swing arm.
Well, he has the covers for the swing arm.
How do you get a 22 and then it's, I guess, already so modded? It's already got all the mods done so quick. Why'd you put supermoto wheels on a good dirt bike? It does. It is a nice picture though. Like
all the burnouts and the
I
pavement or what?
It looks like he put it up on the roof. It kind of looks like a scraped roof. The photo is of and it's up on a nice like balcony area or something like that. It does look good. I almost ignored the fact that it has supermoto wheels on it. It'd probably be pretty fun. Now KTM doesn't sell the supermoto bike. I think Husky's the only one that's selling them.
Now is that
stock?
Is that like a super huge front disc on there?
Oh yeah,
that's a big boy.
It's a big disc. Yeah, you want a big disc on these things. I think slow them down. That's a pretty sweet ride. I think it's nice.
I think it's middle of the road.
Yeah, I don't like supermoto wheels. I like dirt bikes. So it moderately roosts.
Moderately roost.
Moderately roost.
Sorry, that was for.
What was
Jack Hewitt.
Jack,
you out there to defend yourself, Jack?
Defend himself. He doesn't have much.
Post up. Nope. Okay. See ya. Send it in.
It looks simple. So
After
did he have swing arm covers?
It wasn't on the thing.
It wasn't on the thing? Okay.
Okay. You ready for all this information? This is going to take a while.
Oh, this next one?
Yep.
Okay. Who is it and what kind of bike we talking about?
Marty Malcolm, 2007
Marty
450 XC. Do you know Marty?
Nope. I tell you what, that's an RFS bike. If he needs parts or wants to buy another one, might be send me a little. No. Oh, that's all. That's it.
That's it.
Bone stock is what he told me.
Does it
bone
have a
stock? Okay, so
big
I'm gonna
tank on it?
No. This thing is really close to bone stock, but he does have. I can see it, a Promoto billet end cap on his muffler, which is good because if it's the XC, it had the loud straight through muffler on it, and they were kind of loud.
It's got hand guards.
Is it 2007, right?
Yes.
This is the best year of these things. They really got they got everything right. This bike was a really good bike, and then they made the 2008 and
who makes that tail pack?
The 400 was, I don't know, lots of people's probably
a
Moose Racing tail pack. He lied about
see
that.
The hints of a damper on the front.
He tried to sneak that in there. I don't think I'm seeing a steering damper on there. He has a front fender pack. He has some hand guards, some wraparound hand guards that are not stock.
And
Marty.
Yep, and I don't know if you can see it, but those are sick ass wraparound hand guards.
Sick ass. No,
Yep.
I can't see it.
I like the Suzuki.
Yeah.
In the background there.
The
little mini guy.
Yeah. Do you think he just drug this out of the garage, took a picture of it, and then rolled it right back in there, or is this thing a daily rider?
I don't know what's on the back tire. What's is it?
Oh, it looks like
moose leak
lube.
Or is it something else? Because it looks like it's coming all the way from the spoke.
Maybe his dog peed on the other
or
side
is
of the
zip tied on there.
wheel.
I thought it was zip ties at first, but I'm pretty sure that's moose lube.
At least the tires aren't flat. Oh, the front looks a little low.
Yeah.
Front looks suspiciously low. The sprocket is not stock. I can see this. So these guys think they're slipping all this stuff by. I'm liking this bike. This is a good year. This is a good bike.
Well, it looks like he rides it.
He does ride it. Maybe not recently. He's looking for $100. I can tell that. I like the effort, but I want a little more effort. It's not clean either. And if that front tire's flat, he hasn't ridden it, and I'm leaning a little bit more towards the endoing side.
I don't know. I'd put it above.
Hey, these things had the 2-piece clutch cover, which are sought after items. In fact, you can sell that clutch cover for almost as much as you can sell the bike for.
Really?
I don't know. I think I'd put.
Well, some people really want those.
I'd put it ahead of the Supermoto just because it looks like it's ridden and not just bought.
Well, the guys, yeah.
Yeah,
I'll put it right.
He said stock and it's not.
He said,
Yeah.
he didn't give us the full disclosure on
that ruins it.
We wanted any he didn't take $100 worth of time to fill out the information sheet.
Rich St. Jean is next.
Craig also made an excellent point. He said that bike probably doesn't have the stock air in the tubes.
Yeah.
No, those were not stock tires. I know this.
Yeah, the first one probably did have the stock air in the tubes, right?
That's why it's fun.
Gee, I didn't think about that. All these guys that modify the crap. No, it did. It did not have, because those wheels are not stock wheels, so it's not stock air.
Well, it might be stock for those wheels, though. That nothing's been changed. I mean,
Maybe.
Rich St. Jean.
This looks like the bike that
Show
Jim
us what
sold
you
me.
got. Yeah, it does. 2020 EXC 500, all tacoed out. The Get ECU Enduro Engineering parts. You can't be that vague, can you?
Nope.
Tons of fun stuff. More vague. Currently disassembled, getting ready for the new season. Did one season end?
What season in it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it currently disassembled and awaiting a $100 gift certificate from Takamoto Co?
So that is the bike you got. It's a 26 days, right?
What was it? Was it Portugal? What did I get? Or Spain? You have Portugal and I have Spain?
No, I have Italy.
You have Italy.
You have
I have Portugal. I took most of Portugal off. In fact, I was gonna put the black shrouds on it with your awesome graphics kit.
My graphics are on it, though, aren't they?
I know, but I was gonna just switch it out for some dumb reason. I don't know why. Just had time on my hands, and the graphics they're starting to curl up, so I figured I better stick them on something.
See, I got half the population of Eureka, Montana in the house. Jared Sherwood, dirt bike rider up there. Good guy.
Is this what you were doing all afternoon? Is texting all your friends and
No,
telling them you pay them a couple bucks if they come out and watch?
No, I just saw some people on there. I think I reached out to 2 folks or something.
Oh, 2. Oh,
Yeah.
I know how you are, George. You're lying, and it's double or triple of that. This bike is pretty stock. It's really it has the stock tires on it. It's endoing.
stock air.
And yeah, there could potentially be some stock air left in these tires. Yeah,
Yeah, good Lord. At least change the air in your tires, huh?
Right.
I think so. Yep, I think so. But it's a good. Portugal's a good year. Well, mine wasn't, because Jim sold me. That's the one the cam went cattywampus on. I don't know how you knew to sell that to me right before that happened. I don't know how that happened.
Norton Delga Dude.
Okay.
Oh, you get this one.
I get this part.
Norton Delga Dude. Where are these folks from? Should that be part of this? Because I'm always curious. Because some of these.
No, I want info. This thing has the stock mirror on it, so I'm already upset.
It's a 21-350 EXC.
And a discard. Oh my God, strike 2, and I haven't even got past the front
That's
axle.
a good one, too. 21 EXCF, Vortex ECU, FMF carbon slip-on. That's all he says. Yeah,
He didn't even mention the discard. This is roosting. It's over the top endo. Hey, so you know that box that you
he's
brought?
changed the tires, though.
He did change the tires. That's a good thing. And he has a skid plate. He has an Achirby skid plate. Why wouldn't you put a Achirby skid plate on there? That's a good company. Franco Achirby saved me from a life of slavery in the salt mines of Zurat, Mauritania.
He's very generous, too. I have like a 50% off deal through a kind of a backdoor,
Yeah,
way out there thing.
good people. He has a sticker on the front fender. He should at least mention that.
Doesn't have my sticker, though. You
No.
have to earn those.
Yep. So Taco Mike sent. He sent a discard.
Yeah, he sent you multiple.
Multiple.
No,
there-
just one, just
there's
one.
just one. It's like a kind of a carbon one or something.
He weighed
He
a couple of them.
He weighed them and,
Yeah.
and he put it in there.
Yep.
Does he want me to install this on a motorcycle and just
I think he wants you to try it out.
and go see if I can feel it?
Yes.
My P and the Princess Pod, whatever.
Well, we should
Princess and the Pea.
do a blind test where you don't get to look at the front of the bike and you have
Tell
to go
you
ride
discard
it
or not.
and tell me if it's got
Just
a discard.
what we'll do. We'll do this, and I'll take.
I can feel a
I'll
discard.
put put a thing on my helmet so I can't see down. It'll be like a visor underneath, below my eyes, and so
That's going to be hard because you look down at everybody around you that's riding with you anyway. So
no, I can change. Endo.
you can.
Endo.
Okay, Mr.
Matt, we need to spice up the pool. I hope is this gonna help me out here?
Where's like my buddy Jared? Where's his bike out here? I think he got a new 300.
At least this bike is out.
Sorry. Got the
COVID? Yeah. At least this bike is out in the wild. I'm liking that.
This is Greg Statura.
Statura. Okay.
2020 FE 350S Vortex ECU Scott steering stabilizer Pro Moto billet end cap P3 carbon pipe shield FC 450 vented air box cover. Mm-hmm. So it runs cooler because it's white instead of
no.
blue.
It lets more air in. Yeah,
Okay.
it lets more
it's
air.
desmogged.
Right.
Tusk bark busters and hand guards.
Okay.
Enduro engineering skid plate, Tusk D Sport tires, and self-modified tail tidy. So he fixed up his tail.
Oh, he did. He tail tidied it himself.
Yeah. I also have a new seat, concept seat, and a Chirby tank, but have yet to install them.
Okay. At least he's gotten his bike off road, and I can tell you it's 2 feet off the road. They parked it off the side of the road there.
The stock tires on it.
That don't look like stock tires.
You angle the front tire so you can't see the disc guard.
It is a pretty good angle for not noticing the disc guard, but I don't see one.
Got a matching helmet. Got a stock mirror. Two of them. Probably two under that helmet.
Well, yeah, I was gonna go there. I was gonna go off on the stock mirrors. I mean, come on, guys. You ever heard of double take? If you have, then hit me up and I might give you a discount code because you definitely need the double take mirrors. Those are really good. And I'm really concerned about the helmet.
But he did. What did he modify him?
See, I can see knocking. If I saw really golden light on this motorcycle right now, I noticed the photo was shot in golden light, and I figure he rode out into the sunset and he had to knock his visor down that low to dodge the thing. But like if you saw the guy riding with that low visor all the time, there's somebody would pick on him. You got to run the visor up. In fact, it's so far down you can even see the graphic on the side of the visor. It looks like it's doing a swoop downward. So I'm not seeing the golden sunlight and the big shadows to indicate that he had to have his visor that far down. In fact, I don't even see any harsh shadows on this photo.
But at least he works on his bike. He tidied up the tail.
Tidied up the tail
on that thing.
And I did pick
Works
on him for the visor. And it's not all tacoed out, right? It didn't say it's already tacoed out.
No.
So maybe he needs to taco it out some. Is this our last bike? Is this our last bike?
Yeah, that's the last one, and I'm stuck between the guy with the 07 and this.
I'm leaning more towards this. I think maybe just because it's the last one, there's nothing else. It was an easy. It would have been an easy one to win, but he did everything he did everything we told him to. He told us his name, which is kind of important. He told us the year and make
and what he did to the
model.
bike.
Yep, and he told us what he did to it. He didn't just take 30 seconds to roll the bike out of the garage, snap a picture, and say it's all stock.
Greg Statura.
You're agreeing with me? Actually, when you zoom out on that photo, Matt, it actually looks like it's a nice place to look at the slick rock behind him.
Yeah,
that looks like.
What's
to
the
me,
sign say?
It looks like the Donner Pass. If you're asking, me.
Yeah, a lot of granite.
Yeah, it's like the granite, and it probably right there says that this is where Tom ate Bob.
Here, let me zoom in on that. I'm gonna enhance
SCE. Let's see, where is that? It's getting a little bit blown out.
Yeah, I can't really.
Butcher Creek or something like that. Butcher Creek Massacre Site, now endorsed by SCE. So Southern California Edison, that could be up by. I don't know. Who knows where that's at? It looks
But no,
like it looks like Sierras to me.
I do agree with you.
Someplace.
That does look a lot like Donner Pass.
Yeah. So yeah, Greg, I think you're the winner. You're gonna roost up there moderately. Don't put it in front of any Husaberg products. It has
That's too high. That's too high.
No,
Bring
it
back.
has to
Bring it
it has to come back
There we go.
below
That's
any
a good
Husaberg product known to man.
Yeah.
Your wife's calling. Doesn't she know you're trying to do a show right now?
No, it's all my followers.
Do you notice that my wife doesn't call me during the show?
No.
Because she knows I'll put her on. Okay.
What's next? What do you got?
I'm glad I lit the ceremonial candle. Just like,
really
it set the mood for
Jimmy,
this.
Yeah.
what do you have next?
We have some more chat questions that we didn't really.
Oh boy, here we go. Is that second Tecate kicking in there, George? You need some tequila? I got some Four Seasons right over there.
I'm good.
Yeah,
That is
Four
good
Freedoms.
stuff.
I mean, Four Freedoms.
Nope, got to go with Matt to Vegas tonight.
Oh, partying it up in Vegas, huh?
Yeah.
Put up the questions, Matt.
We're gonna hit
Can't
up
read that.
the nightlife.
Get
okay.
something. Science. Trust the
So
science.
Trevor
Trust
Sagan,
us.
Electron, Billotron 38 versus Smart Carb for my 2016 KTM 300 XCW.
What's wrong with the stock carb?
Doesn't say. He just wants to know. He just wants your opinion.
I've not ridden specifically either of those bikes, either of those carbs on that particular bike that I know of, and I'm not 100% sure I've ridden the Billotron one yet, but they're kind of the same. They're basically a metering valve carburetor. If you want your bike to be a lot smoother and like the guy with the 450L said, sluggish throttle response, but I mean in this case, I would call it. I don't want to call it sluggish because they actually sometimes they can meter. I don't want to say jet. They can meter very well. Smoother than the stock ones, but they don't seem to have the same throttle response that, or the ones that I've ridden. I can't say this because I'm pretty sure you could probably jet them to have all different kinds of throttle response, but they don't seem to have the same throttle response as the Kian or the Mikuni, and I don't know which carb his bike has in particular. What year was it again?
It's a 16 KTM 300
16.
XCW. I think that's a.
They're back on Mikuni at that point. So I can't remember. Changed too many things.
Didn't you order like a Chinese knockoff carb or something to try?
Yep, and I still need to put it on a bike. I haven't put it. It's kind of funny because I got that carb here, and as Logan would say, it scared all the other carbs into submission. They thought they were going to go in the trash can.
Yeah, everything's running pretty good.
Yeah, they're all tend to be working, and I haven't had the need to.
Isn't there a lowered KTM that's not?
A lowered KTM?
Yeah, isn't that one not?
No, it started right up and worked perfect. The problem was, okay, so here's a good one for you. So we started up all of our rental bikes like we always do on Friday, or like Logan is supposed to do on Friday before the schools, and he started up all the bikes, didn't say anything, everything was fine, and disappeared. So come Saturday morning, I've got 4 bikes rolled over to the shop that the notes were only runs with the choke on, stalls, doesn't run, and dead battery because it was electric start and it was cranking it. Like 3 or 4 bikes had this note on. They were just piling up, and I'm panicking. I'm like wondering what the. So I'm pissed at Logan, right? I'm like,
He wasn't there.
I'm pissed at him because they all started up the day before and they all worked just fine. And magically between then and now, which is less than 12 hours, none of them work and the batteries are dead. Because usually when they start up, the batteries get charged up, and whenever they start up the next morning, yeah, it was cold and all this stuff like that. So I'm like kind of pissed at Logan. I wonder if he's watching the show. He wouldn't watch the show.
No.
No.
Got better things to do.
Yeah. It's all those girls. So it just occurred to me to like, because I looked at the other thing that these bikes all had in common: George, Jim, Matt.
Yep.
The petcocks were in the on position. Okay, that means like they have reserve. Petcocks have on and reserve. And so I
Gotta bend over to see
I
that.
glance. No, you take the gas cap off. Yeah,
Yeah, and all of them had a ton of gas in the
they
tank.
all had gas in the tank right up to the level of reserve. And so what I'm thinking, and I know this because Logan knows this trick. A lot of times when the bikes have been sitting for a little while, we lay them over there inside very quickly, and then pick them up, and then a little bit of gas spills out, which kind of gets some new gas into the float bowl, make sure the float bowl's filled, and some of that gas when it leans over kind of spills. Sometimes it spills up out of the main jet a little bit, so it's almost like doing a little squirt, pump
That's
squirt.
a TTR start.
Especially the bikes without the pumper carb. The pumper carb will squirt gas in and richen it up, but a lot of the bikes that don't have it, you lay it over, some gas spills out, it makes them start a little bit easier. So I'm suspecting that when he did this, he might have started up, leaning them over on their one side, and there was enough gas in the bowl of the carburetors to start them up.
And now the tank sloshed over into
And
that
then you
side.
donkeys go over there and just crank on the starters and crank on the starters and crank on the starters and turn on the choke or whatever, because you usually don't have to turn the choke on when you do this. Turn on the choke, they run on the choke for a second, then they run out, and then you crank on the starter and crank on the starter, and then the battery's dead and it gets pushed over to my shop. 4 bikes. All you had to do is switch them over to reserve, and they all started up and worked fine after I charged the batteries. Thank you.
Out of how many bikes?
60.
Yeah.
I don't know. 20,
Yeah.
20 that were out.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. It happens.
Well, when there's 4 or 5 guys out there trying to do the right thing and somebody cranks on it and it doesn't start and you walk away and another guy comes and cranks on it and doesn't
By the
start.
right thing, you mean walking around and telling everybody
No,
how,
just
how
walk
awesome you
away
are?
from it when it doesn't run, because you're usually going to come over and, you got to do this one. You pick it up, shake it by your ear. You put your left foot in, you put your left foot out. You do the hokey pokey and you shake it all about and it starts.
Hey, Roger Hurd says he put one of those cheap carbs on his KLX and it runs great.
Good.
I've actually got one on my XR100, a cheap Chinese carb that I just bought. It needs to be jetted. It runs. I ride it the whole time. Well, Jim knows this. We ride it the whole time with the choke halfway on, and it works perfect. But one of these days, I'm actually going to go put some jets in it.
I got to put a bigger bore carb on my 125 so I can wax you guys in a flat track if we get that going again.
Yeah, why don't we have the flat? You know what? Matt needs to learn how to water that thing.
I'm going to get an
I
air
legitimately do.
intake that faces forward for an induction kind of thing on the track, because that's going to force a lot of air through there. And you guys are in trouble.
Dirt Bikes 365 says it came with a 36 millimeter Kian. The 2017 came with a 38 Mikuni. Okay, which is absolute garbage. I wouldn't say absolute garbage, but I did like the Kian better. The 38 millimeter Kian with Suzuki NECH needle is an absolute magic for the 2017 38 millimeter Kian. So where are you getting the 38 Kian from? It's interesting.
You have any experience with amyl carburetors? I had amyl carburetors on a 69 Norton 750. And those things, you could see the slide rattling at idle in there, back and forth. You could hear them, I think, clicking.
I have experience with Bings, but not
That's a BMW
not
thing.
Amyls. Yeah. Okay.
That it?
What's suspicious about the 07 is it looked like he just backed it out of his garage. Yeah, we saw that too.
Well, that doesn't mean anything.
Well,
You watch a show, he said, I got to get my bike out to, submit it.
I want to know if his front tire was really flat. If he's out there and his
Yeah,
front
that's
tire,
not-
if
that's
your
not
front
good.
tire was actually flat and I called you on it, let me know and I'll make it up to you somehow or another. I'll figure something out.
Okay. So from earlier, Finn 825. I'm thinking of going to a WR 450F from a CRF 450X. Is it worth doing? Not a racer or a high-speed rider? He also later asked about a YZ250FX.
Oh, so he's bike fishing.
He's he's exploring.
Well, if it's a Yamaha, you
Get
just
a
got
KTM 500.
Oh, sorry. He was also asked. Sorry, not 250X. 450X.
450 FX.
FX. Yep.
So, and he has the Honda 450X now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it depends. Like one's red and one's blue. And if you like blue, then I think the Yamaha would be a better choice. If you like red, then stick with the Honda. Is that acceptable? They're kind of the same thing but different. The if you like the fact that when you got your Honda, you could turn the throttle wide open, then go FX as opposed to WR. Because WR, you have to do a couple, you have to get like the competition ECU and some little parts that go to it to make it into a quote competition bike, and that makes the WR much better. I tend to like the FX overall is just a more versatile platform. The WR, the suspension, it's gotten better. I mean, the last one that I rode, I was really, really impressed with the suspension, and especially when it kind of adopted some of the YZ changes in the last round, it got better. So it's a toss up. They're all, at this point, all the bikes are so good. It's really more about like what color it really is. But Blue Crew, go with the Yamaha.
So a bicycle kid told my wife once when she was shopping for a bicycle, he said basically get the bike that you think is cool and you're going to spend the most time on and want to go, I want to ride this because it's just cool and it makes me smile.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to that.
You've brought that up before, and I the one that you think is cool, and maybe just getting a different one, and switching from one brand to another to learn what that brand is like. And nowadays, well, at least up until now, you can take the bike and literally sell it, for not losing too much money. In fact, I know some people that are buying bikes and selling them for more than they bought them for.
I've always told new street riders that are asking what to get, I say, find something that's like sub $2,000 because that's kind of the bottom of that market, and you'll never go wrong or lose it. You won't feel bad if you tip it over and bust some levers off or whatever, put a ding in it, and you'll always get within $500 of that when you sell it later.
Yeah,
that's just the bottom of the market. And the same thing with a dirt bike. Just get something to try it.
I wouldn't. With the dirt bikes, I think you have to be a little more careful about going down the bottom of the market because these things have been crashed and maybe ridden pretty hard or just slapped back together after a mechanical, and they're just trying to kind of get rid of them. So when you start finding where the basement price is, where the low price is, if you pad it with $500 to $1,000, you're going to get a really good bike. A motorcycle that you can learn with. And when it's adventure guys, I just say, go find a KLR 650. Find it, ride it. You can sell it for what basically what you picked it up for after you've ridden it. And then okay, did I really want an adventure bike or did I want a dirt bike or do I want to get a better adventure bike?
Well, a lot of new riders don't realize, what it takes to ride. When it's cold, you got to put on gear. You got to do this. You can't just get in the car with your cup of coffee and take off. And they may just totally not like the lifestyle if they're just like a street commuter or whatever. And so, don't go buy the $25,000 Harley and decide, I'm not really into this.
I thought I was talking to the guy who got all his gear on. He went to McDonald's for breakfast in the morning, even though he doesn't have a dirt bike.
Well, that's okay. I was going to send you something I got in the mail from Aerostitch. It explained all their different suits and what was good for you. Everything, but I didn't.
That's why I wear Climb. There's a big difference.
Yeah, I wore a lot of Climb in the last several days.
Yeah.
I like their gear. It's good. That's a buy once, cry once type of thing.
But the stuff lasts a long time. So Climb News, Climb has some new Arsenal backpacks. They have a 15 and a 30, brand new, just released, new and improved. It's kind of funny because
That's the vest, right?
No. They make an Arsenal vest too, but they make two Arsenal backpacks. One's a 15-liter backpack and one's a 30-liter backpack. And after the show where we did with the Captain Larry, we talked about safety stuff. I spilled my guts of my backpack out on this table right in front of me. Man, that's what I'm into spilling on this table. Just a habit now. I'm going to try to light it on fire. It's getting close. Where's one of those endo bikes? I'm just going to light it right here on fire.
A three-wheeler?
Maybe. So after I did that, I realized it's like I need to replace this thing. And luckily I had one. I had a brand new one that because I knew I was going to have to replace it, and it's just been sitting there probably for about a year. But anyways, I switched it all up, and I kid you not, 2 days after I put all my stuff in there, get it all packed up, they have a new one. I'm like, oh. So I'll have to wait a year or two before I wear this thing out. But Climb makes some really nice backpacks for carrying your stuff. I carried my stuff today. I had my transponder, my tracker inside of there. I had my jump starter inside of there. I have my little tool things because I try to keep that thing kind of light. had my spare water, my cold gloves, which I don't seem to need anymore. I think we're getting past that phase, unless it's early in the morning.
Your cold gloves are just wind stoppers, right?
Wind stoppers, yep.
That's pretty much all I've used. Even like if I travel, been over to Europe a couple times for these trips, I just take light gloves and then wind stoppers.
Yeah.
And that's it. It seems to be good if you keep your core warm. And
Yeah, so I had all my stuff in there except my fire starting, because we noticed that I didn't have that when we poured everything out, and you think I would have put it in there? Nope. I went riding over the last week. I was out doing some riding, and it was freezing cold. I was way up in the mountains. It started snowing. I'm kind of pretty deep. Rode down a trail that had a couple ice sheets in it, and I wasn't going back up. And I'm like thinking, this is when I started going, how prepared are you, Jimmy? What do you got going here? And I remembered, dumb shit, you didn't put damn fire starter inside of this thing. And so this is when I just go, well, you're gonna have to pull the spark plug out, spill a little gas on the thing. I had a method, but it wasn't the most ideal one. So I should probably right after the show go grab some fire. This is probably why this is why.
Do you have the one that's the
fire here?
The magnesium. You scrape off a little bit of the wooden handle to make some tinder, and then you scrape off the magazine.
You didn't watch that show, did you? Larry had.
No,
one.
I heard about it, but yeah, it's just a little stick about that big.
Yeah, it's a little magnesium block with a flint on one side, and
it's got a little leather thong thing on it.
No, the one I have doesn't have a leather thing.
Well, that's a problem, because then you can't carry it where it'd be with you all the time if it doesn't have the leather thong on it to retrieve it.
Just because you wear a leather thong all the time, don't get me on that. I just throw it in the damn backpack and then I'm good. But now I'll just take this lighter right here, this little lighter that lit this fire, and this will go in my pack.
I think you can get those on airplanes now too.
Lighters?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean or the magnesium stick?
No, the lighter.
No, because I brought the magnesium stick on an airplane before.
Well, I flew out here with a lighter like that in my carry-on.
Are you not allowed to have them?
You weren't for a while, but you can now.
Can now? Why? What do you
That's really the better way to go while you're over there huddled, shivering, scraping crap off the handle and all that.
You'll just use a lighter?
No, I'd just wait. I'd wait for you to get a fire going with that, and then I'd show you mine.
The magnesium strip will light wet wood on fire. Trust me, I've done it. So, okay. Tamales will keep your core warm.
Yeah.
And the toilet full.
And everything else.
Says Victor. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, buddy.
How many pounds fit in a 30-liter backpack? Too many pounds, I can tell you that.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Pretty good.
The good thing for the 30 liters, like if you're doing some long multi-day stuff or camping out or whatever, you just put your light stuff in there. So I know on my tour of Idaho when I was carrying basically kind of like an outer shell layer inside of there, so pack pants and a pack jack kind of thing. I think I was carrying my hammock and my bivy sack in there also, which are super, super light. And then I would put the stuff that I would need, quickly. So like pizza, I had pizza and tinfoil usually up in there. How'd you like that, Jim? Pizza? Yeah. Might have been a beer or two stashed in there someplace. But light things. That's what and when you have a big pack, you just adjust where you put your stuff.
I've kind of learned when I'm traveling a little bit or just out, for a long trail ride, to have, it's usually that Motion Pro little kit because it's got screwdrivers
and
different stuff.
MP tool
and maybe a Leatherman, set. But have that stuff really handy because inevitably some little thing happens and somebody goes, does anybody have a screwdriver that's easy to get to? And everybody's got one or a knife, and they're all looking down. Everybody loses eye contact because it's buried at the bottom of their
pack and down in the thing where they have to take the tubes out, and it took them like 3 minutes just to crunch it all in there to pull the zipper shut.
So I started putting that stuff like right at the top in some little
pouch. For me, it's on the back
pouch
pouch that's easy to get to. That's where that stuff is always at. So, or you put it in your belly pocket. Yeah, if you have an Arsenal vest, you put it in the easy packs there.
Yeah, that's where I keep that, my jump starter and stuff. I
was Arsenal vest guy for like 3 solid years until I switched to that pack that you saw last time. I switched over to that one because I kind of wanted to. I was getting the Arsenal a little bit heavy, but I liked the way it dispersed the weight, and then I kind of started taking a lot. I used to carry a full on tool pack with me, you know, like kind of a sleeve. I thought to myself, how much have you used this? You know, tire irons and all this stuff like that. And I'm like, I haven't used it. I've been running a lot more mooses and not, you know, if I go someplace where I know I'm going to need a lot of this stuff, maybe I'll take it. But now I'm just as quick to put on some like those light saddlebag kind of things.
I've gone the same route because my back was giving me issues a year or two ago. And so I kind of quit wearing the Arsenal and started putting stuff in my little, I think they're Mojave. Mm-hmm. Those little tiny bags on my 500.
Right.
Started putting more of the weight in there. But, you know, so then I went to that small climb backpack with my bladder and just a couple of things, light stuff, maybe my wind stoppers or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, same way. But I'd like to go back to the Arsenal and just, you have to be disciplined not to make it too heavy.
You know what? I almost
Get in
had
your
I
wallet.
almost had a really awesome bitchin' thing to put on the board here, and it's kind of funny because I just got a text from Ryan Hanna who sent me that. Remember that we used to have the picture on the scroll, the one with Ricky and Andrew and myself.
Oh, yeah,
on
yeah.
the Dakar and Daniel Laporte. He sent me that picture. I have it in my truck right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I almost
Go
got
get it.
Almost got it up here. No, I'll save it for next show. Got to have something kind of interesting for the next show. So it's running down kind of the end. Jim Jarvis agrees with me and says the Mikuni works fine. You know, the Mikuni does work fine. I remember the last time we tested a KTM with one of those, I wasn't super happy with it. I was kind of like between jets and between needles a lot. And I think I got the JD jet kit for that because I wanted to just try one that it'd been a while since I'd actually tried the physical jet kit. And I put it on there and it worked really good. Just saying. So, yeah. Well, I'm glad we could answer some of your questions, most of your questions.
That about wraps it up.
Yeah, the devil didn't. We didn't get into religion tonight. We did everything else. Spilled the holy water. Lit the fire. Barely made it through this whole show. A lot of endos. A lot of endos on Rooster Endos. You guys got to kick it up a notch. We received 100 messages on chat today with Restream. That's good, George. Your call out to want to know where everybody lives.
What's that? Dirt Bikes 365. George likes the 500. What year and what did you do to motor fuel?
Your 500? Yours is totally stock, isn't it? Yours is a 16.
17. With 400 or 500 hours on it.
Yeah.
14,000 miles.
Totally
or something
stock?
Motor-wise, yeah. In fact, I think I took the valve cover off because Victor shamed me into it. He said it looked like
it
a
was
funnel
leaking.
cake fryer at the LA Fair. But it wasn't dripping on the ground. But it was, yeah, it was cake.
It was
And
leaking a little bit.
You checked the valves and
They were
put
perfect,
one
right?
shim on.
Oh,
one
we did
shim
shim
in
it.
there, yeah.
Okay, wow.
And then you left your magnet in there for
Oh,
a month.
listen to this. Yeah, so George pulls up, and I saw this metal thing sticking out. I'm like, George, what's this? And I reach down and pull out. It's, you know, the little telescoping magnet thing?
Like an antenna.
It's like an antenna sticking out of his skid plate or something. And I'm like, how did the hell did this get here? And he starts blaming me for it. And
He says, I've been missing that.
I've been
for
missing
a
it.
month."
In fact, I missed it so much, I bought 3 sets of those things on Amazon. One to give him, and now he returned mine. And now I have one, another one, and stuff like that. So when you are shopping through Amazon, click through the links on Dirt Bike Test. Usually at the bottom of one of our fresh dirt posts, you can go in there at the bottom of the story. You'll see a bunch of products listed down there, and it might be like, you know, high digit items like TV sets and all the other stuff we want you to buy. But if you're just going to buy a little magnet, go ahead and click on that link, and we get a little small share of that. If you're doing stuff from Rocky Mountain ATV MC, same thing. There's a banner that you can go through on dirtbiketest.com, and we get a small chunk of that. That does help us out. It allows me to dangle carrots in front of guys like Trevor and Scott to post more content up. And Matt over here is wondering where he's just like, look, he's giving me this look. Ever seen a puppy dog and they see you eating? That's what Matt's doing right now. He's giving me that look. So other things to be aware of. We have our episode 3 of the Better Rider podcast coming out. That'll be coming out this Thursday. It's featuring none other than your favorite co-host, my favorite co-host, Logan Tyler. So it'll be another hour.
Does he talk?
It'll be half an hour of me talking about myself.
Which
And-
we recorded those a while ago, and it blows my mind just how much older he looks since recording that episode.
Really, and it was
Yeah.
only a few months ago.
Yeah.
You can go to jimmylewisoffroad.com/online courses, and we have a beginner rider series up there. And if you use code TechTalk22, you'll save a few bucks on that. So if you are trying to teach somebody how to ride, don't do it. Let us do it for you. It'll save your relationship with that person. I promise you.
Oh, yeah. Put out the BMW MOA thing we just learned about. That's a good tip for everybody.
That's going in our newsletter. Sign up for the newsletter at jimmylewisoffroadracing.com. All that information will be there. And I think with that, we're going to... got one last question. Should we answer it?
Yeah.
Lucas wants to know, any tips for AER fork tuning, XC and hard enduro style riding? Yes, Lucas. Play with the adjusters. Play with them. I have found that the air pressure makes a big difference, and go in like 2-pound increments up and down to see what you're really trying to do. It's essentially like changing springs. It's simple. If you have the tool, it's a pump or two, and you're good to go. And play with the spring, basically the air spring first, and then start going into your clickers. And it's like anything else. The KTMs the external adjustments tend to be more mid-speed than low speed. So try to find that low speed plushness or stiffness, whichever you're looking for, with the spring, and then use the clickers for more of the what we would call mid-speed, or like kind of the when the fork gets moving or damping itself in the stroke. That's what the clicker does a little bit more than the initial movement, like you might be familiar with on other forks.
So you said you'd do 2-pound increments, but for maybe somebody that's not in tune with a bike as much, would you then do bigger ones, like go put the top level air in it and then take a bunch out and, then narrow it down?
I wouldn't do that much. Maybe 5-pound increments for someone. You can feel it. It's pretty noticeable because the air fork is so progressive that it's a lot softer, and then it gets a lot stiffer at both ends of the spectrum. The KTM fork is probably the least like a traditional air fork, but you do notice it.
Are those literally just an air chamber?
It's a very complicated air chamber, but yeah, it's all it really is an air chamber. Yeah. So okay, I think that's it.
Yep. I think that's good.
23 seconds overtime. Actually, 5 minutes overtime.
Okay.
We're all
So,
good.
hey, everybody, thanks for joining us. We'll see you out on the trail, but not without Yamaha Taco Moto. That's tacomoto.co. Scott Sports for awesome goggles. Climb, DDC, Trail Tech, and, of course, www.dirtbiketest.com. And a big shout-out to Jerry over at Fuck You. I pulled out this, Spun Lost, We'll Find You. Chasing around the desert for poor meth users. So, okay with it.